Hey, what's going on, Flash Mob? It's your boy Flash back again with another video. And today we're going to do things just a little bit different. I was actually called out a couple weeks ago to shoot some costumes for Caravana. And for those of you who've never heard of Caravana before, it's basically a Canadian Caribbean culture festival that happens every single year. And honestly, it's one of the best things that happens out here. Amazing music, beautiful women, dope costumes, unlimited alcohol basically. It's just an all-around good time every single year. But yeah, I posted the videos on Instagram and a lot of you guys were like, whoa, these are some dope videos. And the questions I was getting asked was, what plugins am I using? What program did I use to edit the videos? And how was I able to, create some of these effects that I put in the video? And I said to myself, instead of, trying to respond to every single one of you guys in the DMs, that I think it would just be a lot more efficient and effective if I created a YouTube video showing you exactly how I created the effects and then shared those videos with you guys. So that's pretty much what we're going to do in this video today. And spoiler alert, these effects are not that difficult to make. So let's just go ahead and grab our laptops and open our computers, open up Davinci Resolve, and let's see how we get it done. So there are a few technical things that you want to think about while shooting so that you can get these results in post. The first thing that you really want to think about is shooting in both aspect ratios, or shooting for both aspect ratios, I should say. We're now in a time where vertical content is very important. So yeah, you might be able to take the horizontal video and throw it on your YouTube channel, maybe your website, maybe LinkedIn, whatever. But a lot of people come to social media and they want to see everything in that vertical format. So by thinking about that prior to shooting and make sure that you're framing everything so that it works for both aspect ratios, you save yourself a lot of time and you give yourself a lot of flexibility in post. The next thing we got to think about here is that we're shooting very large costumes on very small backgrounds. So my thought process to this was to ensure that we're fitting the costume on the background itself, allowing ourselves to shoot wide enough to fit the entire costume, and giving ourselves some space on the edges so that we can do some magic in post. Third thing we want to think about is making sure that we shoot everything at a high resolution. So most cameras nowadays shoot about 4K, some do 5, and me personally, I shoot on the Komodo 6K, so I was shooting up to 6K resolution. Now the reason why that's important is because when we shoot this content in horizontal or vertical or whatever, we're doing it to make sure that we can get both covered. We're going to have to zoom in and crop a lot of these clips. So if you don't shoot in a high enough resolution and you start zooming in, you start losing that quality and resolution. We don't want that to happen. So shoot as high as you can to make sure that you maintain that crispy, clean footage. So the fourth thing I decided to do was shoot everything handheld and in slow motion. And the reason why I decided to do that is because we had a lot of models and not a lot of time in the studio. So I wanted to make sure that I can go from vertical to horizontal as quickly as possible without any setup time. And the reason why I shot everything in slow motion is because when you move a camera without a gimbal or a tripod or something like that, if you don't slow the footage down, it's going to start looking a little janky. So to prevent that, you're shooting in slow motion, so even the organic movements that you're making with the camera looks natural and looks, professional. So there were also some creative decisions that were made before I decided to shoot. And one of the things that I decided to do was get a clean plate. And essentially what a clean plate is just a still shot of the background. So the main reason why you would want to have a clean plate is so that you have a background no matter what type of footage you're putting on top of it. We all know that when you shoot vertically on a horizontal frame, that you're going to have those two black bars on the side. When you have a clean plate, you can place that vertical shot on top of that background without having the two black bars on the two sides. So with that, you get a ton of more flexibility in post, so you can add more subjects, you can make them bigger, you can make them smaller, you can do whatever you want because essentially you have an infinite size background. When you're shooting a clean plate, there's also a couple things that you want to remember. You want to keep the camera as still as possible, and you want to allow it to just record. So I like to give it like 15-20 seconds to just record. You also want to make sure that you turn on all the lights that you're going to be using as if the model was on the background. So what I mean by that is you turn on your lights, your key, your hair, your whatever, you turn them all on, you hit the record button and you record with nobody there. The reason why you want to do that is because you want the lighting on the background to be consistent for when you're using it as a background when you throw the model on top. So we're going to talk about all that in the video. I know it sounds kind of complicated right now, but once we start working with that clean plate, you'll start understanding exactly what it does for you. So yeah, let's move over to Davinci Resolve and see exactly how this works. So I went ahead and already created a timeline, and on the timeline, I just added a few clips that I know I want to work with to kind of illustrate exactly what we were talking about and show you how it works. So my timeline is a regular horizontal aspect ratio, nothing special there, but we're going to take a look at how this works. So the first thing you want to do is obviously pick the 2 clips that you want to work with. So in this case, I use these 2. As you guys can see, nice vertical shot as well as a nice horizontal shot, and we're going to combine them together to make something really nice. So the first thing we want to do is go to that vertical shot and we want to turn it around. So right now it's horizontal, we need it vertical. So all you have to do is go over to your rotation and turn it 90 degrees like that. Cool. And what I like to do as well is zoom out so that it's showing the whole shot. So we'll go somewhere around there. Actually, we'll go a little bit more because like that, and then I just move it down a bit so that she's in the middle of the frame and we can see pretty much the whole thing. So cool. Let's go back to the beginning of the shot here. So that's more or less what we have there. The next thing we want to do is take our horizontal shot, which is this really nice shot of her from the front here, and just slide it underneath our vertical shot. We should have something that kind of looks like this. Now, obviously, that looks wild, right? That's not what we're going for. That's not what we're trying to do here. So first thing I want to do is make this blend a little bit nicer in this shot. So right now we can see the hard edges of the vertical shot. So the way to blend it is we can go over to our cropping section over here in the inspector tool. I'm just going to pick another frame here so that we can see the whole thing. So let's use that frame right there. Cool. So the first thing we want to do is kind of change this softness. So we can see all the hard edges and we don't want to see that. So we're going to soften them a bit. So let's go ahead and bring that down. Nice. And we kind of want to just bring it to the point right before it starts cutting off the feathers. So like 100% is just too much. So I just come back a little bit so that's something like that. And then if we really want to tweak it anymore, we can start moving these crop options. So in this case, because we rotated it, the top is now the left and the right, and the bottom is now the left and the right. So let's just bring it in just a little bit on both of these sides here, right before, like I said, it starts really taking away from all the feathers. So somewhere around there looks pretty good. You guys can already see we went from a hard edge to a much softer, more nicer edge. So let's just disable this clip for a second. So you hit D, you select the clip and hit D, and that'll turn it off for a second. Now let's look at the background now. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to add a mirror effect. So to do that, it's pretty easy. If you go to your open effects here, you can hit on the little search thing here, and you can type in mirrors and it should pop right up. There we go. We're going to take that and drop it right on the clip. Then we'll have something that looks like this, and honestly that absolutely looks ridiculous, but we're going to fix it. So what I like to do is just pick another frame again. So right about there looks kind of good to me. And then you can either go into the effects and you can kind of play around with this. You can angle it, you can, you know, flip it on whichever way you want to. That part's up to you. You can do this individual that we have already. We can do the rosette, which kind of makes it crazy. And we can do this kaleidoscope. Whatever really floats your boat, you can, you know, do what you want to do with it. That's cool. But in this case, we're just going to go to individual. And you can flip it, whatever. Like I said, it's really entirely up to you what you want to do with that. But for this right now, I'm going to leave it as it is, and I'm going to go back to my video options, and I'm just going to space them out. So by using the X position, you can just start moving them over. Now for me, I already know that in the middle here is where we're going to have the vertical shot. So I'm going to move both of these mirrored shots over to the edges. So let's just keep going. So that looks about right, somewhere around there. And if we play it back, we'll have something that looks like this. Very nice. I like that. So let's turn back on the vertical shot. So we highlight it again and hit D. And now we have her in the middle here. And let's take a look at it. So that's not bad. But for me, I want to make the middle shot a bit bigger because I feel like it's being lost a bit between the two other shots here. So I'm just going to go highlight that clip and I'm just going to zoom in a bit. Something around there. And I just move it down a bit as well, so that it's clearly the focal point of what we're looking at here. And then when we play it back, we have something that looks like this. Really nice. Let's look at it one more time. Nice. I'm just going to extend it a little bit. Nice. So that's pretty much what we get from that. Now to finish this off, I'm going to add some HD borders. Now I already pre-made these in Photoshop and it's just really easy. Just duplicate it and put one on the top and the bottom, and then you get these bars here. So let's look at that. So you just get these bars here, right? And then what I would do is I'm just going to zoom in on the bars just a little bit. And then what that does is it removes this portion here where it kind of bleeds out into the bottom. It removes that. The other thing that we could do if you want to is that we can select the bottom layer and just zoom it out so that it does that. Whichever option you want to do, it's up to you. So you can do that, or you can add your borders. It's entirely up to you. For this example, I guess we'll just leave it like this for now. And yeah, that's how you make the first example of the mirror effect. Simple. So this is where we're going to look at the clean plate. So this is the shot that I made of the background and just made it it doesn't move, doesn't do anything. Turn the lights on, you can see it in the middle. This is where the lights were shining. And then we have the fall off on the edges, which is exactly what we're looking for. And yeah, this is what the plate looks like. And the reason that we do that is so that we don't have, like, let's rotate this clip again 90 degrees. So we have a beautiful vertical shot of this model wearing her costume, and we can see her full body from top to bottom, right? But we don't want to see these black borders on the side. And then what a lot of people do to kind of get around this is they'll duplicate the layer like this, place it underneath like that, and then they'll just take the bottom layer and they'll zoom it up so it looks like that or something. And I don't know, they'll probably drop the opacity a bit. I mean, to me, like, yeah, no, that does nothing for me, right? So what we do instead, let's just delete that duplicate layer, is we take this vertical shot, we take the clean plate and we slide it underneath like that. Now we have a wide backdrop without those black borders on the side. And now what we can do here is exactly what we did before. We're going to soften the edges a bit, quite a bit actually. And we're going to change the crop a bit as well so that we can blend it a little bit nicer. So something like that looks good enough for me. And then we kind of have this, where it's the full body of the model. We have a background. Cool. But let's take it a step further. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this a couple of times. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to position the model from the middle to both sides here. So we're going to put one on the left side, and then we're going to put one on the right side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make her in the middle just a bit bigger. So make her a bit bigger, and I'm just going to move her position up a bit. And I'm also going to move the two side ones out a bit more as well so that you can kind of see it more. And then we have something like this. Now, again, I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, you could have just duplicated her and slid her out without the plate, which is true, but then you'd have something that looks like this, right? And of course, yes, you can scale it up so that it fits and blends like that, but in this particular case, I don't want her on the sides this big. I want her smaller than the one in the middle. So let's undo that. So that's what we get if we do it the way that most people would say, oh, just make it bigger or whatever. Like, that's how it's going to look. And if we don't have the softening on the edge, let's just look at it again. Let's take the softening off. We still get that hard edge again, which we don't want. We want to make it look like it was a composite and it was kind of added. So that's why we do it that way. And by having this clean plate, it just kind of blends everything in and makes it look good again, right? And then what we can do again with the background is just scale it up. Then we have something that looks like that. And if we play it back, now we have an effect like this, which 3 girls winding up. Awesome. I'm going to extend this a bit so we can see it. We have 3 girls, one in the middle that's a lot bigger, and then the 2 girls on the side dancing. And then what we could even do to just make this just a little bit more fun if we wanted to is like, let's say we want to do a jump cut on the middle one where it zooms in a little bit more. So it goes from this, and then maybe we want it to zoom in a bit, like punch in the middle of the clip. You can do that. And then what we do is we make that middle section just bigger. Maybe just like that. And then we have something that looks like this. Boom, punches in and then zooms back out. Dope. Very simple effect to do once again. The one other thing that I want to mention about the clean plate is that you want to make sure that you color grade it the exact same way with the clips that you're going to be adding on top of it. So let me show you guys what I mean by that. So if you look at these 3 clips, cool, everything blends properly. The background also blends. But let's say, for example, we go into our color page here. Let's move all these over. Turn off the background layer. Let's go back over to the clips, and then we can see the background is clearly colored different than the other 3 clips, and that definitely will throw you off. Let's go back into the color tab, and let's just turn on, I don't know, a couple of these. Not all of the changes, but we turn on one. Go back, you can see, we can still clearly see that something's different. So you want to make sure that you absolutely make sure that the color of the background, in this case the clean plate, is the exact same color grade that's being put onto the clips that's being used on top of it, so you don't have any discrepancies or different looks here. So let's go ahead and turn back on everything. Go back to the clips, and you can see that blends a lot better, especially if you're looking at it quickly. Boom, boom. Great. Done. So if you guys stuck with me, I'm going to show you a bonus one. It's not exactly the mirror effect, but it's something that you can use on pretty much anything to try and get a cleaner look for your videos, especially when you're trying to get like a grid look where it's like 3 different clips all side by side and you don't really need to blend it. This is an easy way to do that. So here's our 3 clips. So you got this clip, and this clip. Cool. Let's rotate all of them 90 degrees. And then we're all in the middle. Cool. Let's scale them all down so that they fit into the frame. So something like that. Cool. Actually, first let's stack them all with each other. So let's just stack them all underneath each other. And let's take that first clip, we're going to move it to the right, and got something like that. Let's move the other one, let's move it to the left. We have something like that. Now let's say that we want these 3 clips to fit equally into the frames that we have, and we don't want to have any spaces in between. We just want to make it a seamless shot with the 3 stacked beside each other. The easiest way to do that is to go into, so yeah, let's go over to our effects. Let's click on where it says toolbox, and right over here, let's just click and type in adjustment clip. And let's just drag that over the top and make it the same size. I'm going to zoom in a bit as well so you can see exactly what we're working with. Now, adjustment clip does absolutely nothing until you do something to it. So let's do that, and then now let's go back here and let's go to grid. If you click on open effects, we'll see something that says grid, and we're going to drop that right into our clip here. Now, You guys will see it has a whole bunch of stuff going on, but we're going to fix that. If we go over to our inspector and go over to effects, we can change the parameters of what we're going to see here. So in this case, we actually want to see 3 columns. So we'll put 3 there. We'll take our rows, since we don't need any, and put 0 there. And then we have the ability to change the border width. So I'm going to bring that all the way down actually. And then we'll go with our vertical lines. We're going to make that nice and skinny. We just need it as a reference. And we're going to take our horizontal width and we're going to get rid of it. So now we have something that looks like this. So it's basically, if we turn it on and off, it's just a guide that allows us to see where to fit these clips. So let's turn that on. Let's turn back on this clip. So we have all 3 clips here now. We kind of see where the guides need to be to make them all equally the same size. So now we can start making those changes. So let's start with the first one. Let's increase the size, get it right to the edge. Right to the edge there. I think it could even go up just a little bit more. So right about there. Let's go down to the second one. Let's move it over a bit. And let's again increase the size until it's right on that edge, filling it so we can see it there. It's filling the edge there, perfect. And let's go to the last one and do the exact same thing. And first I'm going to move it over a bit. And then we're going to scale it up. And we should have something that looks like this. If we play it back again, we'll see we have 3 of them that fit perfectly in the size. I'm actually going to drop the resolution a bit. There we go. So you can see we have 3 clips all in the sequence side by side, and they fit perfectly into the frame. Now what we'll do, you can either keep these lines if you like them. That's up to you. If you don't want them, you turn them off, and then you'll have something that looks like this. Really simple way to get perfectly sized clips in the aspect ratios that you choose. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it was super simple. You just gotta know where to look to find the effects that you're going for. And then you just layer your clips, add the effects, manipulate it the way that you want to make it look, and then you're pretty much good to go. So yeah, that's pretty much all it is to this effect. Like I said, it was super simple and anybody can do it realistically. And what's great is that this is actually effects that you can actually do in the free version of Davinci Resolve as well. So yeah, if this video helped, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. And until the next one, guys, thanks for watching. And remember to look, learn, and share. Take it easy, guys. Peace.